Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm going to be reacting to Kepler telescope found new planets better than Earth. I'm very much interested in space videos. So I'm just going to be reacting to this one. So I just want to see, what other planets are better than Earth. I don't think we can, this is what I predict. I don't think they found an Earth actually better than Earth, because Earth literally has, oxygen and everything that we human beings need as to live. So if there's another planet better than Earth, I at least feel like it should have oxygen. How do we know if other planets have oxygen? I don't know. But it's just interesting, man. Like, I feel like there's so much that we need to still learn from space. We don't even know much about, the deep of the ocean. That's just crazy that we don't know much of the ocean. I feel like we know more about space. But anyways, let's just get into the video and see what, planets this Kepler telescope found.
The Kepler telescope was built for one purpose: to look at a certain patch in the Milky Way in search of exoplanets. The exoplanet hunter observed over hundreds of thousands of stars and discovered thousands of exoplanets during its lifetime. Launched in 2009 as part of NASA's Discovery program, Kepler's job was to constantly scan a fixed patch of sky within our Milky Way galaxy to find planetary systems. At the time of the launch, it had the largest primary mirror ever sent into space, and it also had a 96 megapixel camera.
So the Kepler telescope is actually in space? Bro, I did not know that. I thought the telescope was here on Earth. 96 megapixels camera, bro. I wish I was smart. I wish I was smart enough to be like, to work in space, like if I were to be a kid again and just think about life, like have the same mentality I do now, I would want to work with space, like be an astronaut. I don't know, anything that has to do with space. I think that would be awesome, but I don't think I'm smart enough, because you have to be like mathematically and all this smart. I am not that smart.
To process the light, astronomers were interested in finding out just how many stars have planets orbiting around them, and how many of these extrasolar planets or exoplanets have conditions that are suitable for life to develop. In its 9 years in space, Kepler observed 530,536 stars and confirmed the existence of 2,662 new exoplanets. These exoplanets are unlike anything we've ever seen in our solar system before. Most of them are significantly bigger than Earth and orbiting so close to their stars that they complete one revolution every several days. And there are some very strange worlds. Some have star-facing sides with temperatures that can melt iron, and have entire hemispheres covered with oceans of liquid molten rock. Other exoplanets the size of Jupiter orbit not one but two stars. If you were standing on the surface
I'm already mind blown, and we're only 1 minute and 46 into this video. That's crazy. The sun is an actual star, right? Like, we look up in the sky and we see a lot of stars, but it's like seeing a bunch of our suns, technically, because the sun is a star. So, but a planet that orbits two suns, how does that even work? Like, does it orbit the two suns, or does it orbit like around the two suns? Oh, that's amazing. And how the heck did they get these scenes? They look amazing.
One of these planets, you'd be able to see a binary sunset. But Kepler's legacy is that it successfully found Earth-sized worlds orbiting at a safe distance from their host stars inside what's known as a habitable zone, or Goldilocks zone. This is where the temperatures are warm enough for water to condense on their surfaces, but not so cold that it will just freeze up entirely. Although being in this zone doesn't guarantee the existence of life, the presence of water is significant and the foundation of life as we know it. One such exoplanet discovered by Kepler that has recently generated excitement among researchers is called K2-18b. In September 2019...
Yo, how do they come up with these names? Oh, I found a planet. What do you want to name it? K2-18b. Yes. I like that name. Like how? There must be like a system of what to name them, like what time did you find it? What location was the telescope looking at? Or maybe using the person who found the star, maybe they can use their name. But I would never think K2-18b would be a name for a planet.
Two scientific teams independently announced that they found signs of liquid water in the planet's atmosphere. Situated 124 light-years away from Earth, K2-18...
124 light-years away. I'm trying to make my mind understand that. I can't.
B is about 8 times the mass of Earth and 3 times as big.
Dang. So would it have more gravity?
Red dwarf star called K2-18. A red dwarf star is the smallest, coolest star, and by far the most common type of star in the Milky Way. According to Kepler's data, astronomers estimate that 6% of red dwarf stars have an Earth-sized planet in the Goldilocks zone. At least in our neighborhood. To find water on the surface of one such planet is a landmark discovery in the search for potentially habitable alien worlds. K2-18b is also the first planet with water out of all of the exoplanets discovered by Kepler in the habitable zone of stars. Kepler first discovered the planet in 2015, and since then its composition has been studied using other telescopes, like the Spitzer and Hubble Space Telescope. Kepler mainly used what's known as the transit method for exoplanet hunting. It essentially means that if a planet passes in front of a star, the light from the star dims slightly, and that's how we can tell that there's a planet there. The level of dimming and how long it lasts gives us important information about the size and orbit of the planet. However, detecting the transit of an extrasolar planet is very challenging. For example, the diameter of Earth is only 1/109th of that of the Sun. So, for an outside observer of the solar system, the passage of Earth would dim the output of the Sun by only 0.008%. Kepler's cameras had to be sensitive enough to detect this minute change in the luminosity.
Yo. How much does a camera cost? But that's just crazy. Like that human beings can create a thing that can detect planets by looking at how much the star dims. I love space, space discoveries and space searches and just the humankind thirst for knowledge of what they don't understand. I love it. But I feel like we should have the same type of energy for knowing more about our planet, because like I feel like we haven't yet discovered much of like our ocean's life. I think I heard it was like we discovered like 5% or 10, I forgot, of our ocean. And yet there's also like forests that we still haven't, that are untouched by man. So I feel like if we had the same energy in our planet, that would also be awesome. But hey, I'm not gonna complain about how much money we spent in space. It's just, it keeps us entertained here.
Using the same method way back in 2014, Kepler first found a potentially habitable exoplanet, Kepler 186f ignited the imaginations of space nerds everywhere when NASA announced its discovery. Now a new study indicates the exoplanet, 500 light-years away, may also have seasons and a climate similar to our own. New research out of Georgia Tech University has analyzed the planet's spin and axial tilt and found that its tilt is stable like Earth's, which makes it likely that Kepler 186f also has regular seasons and a stable climate. Similar research on the massive Kepler database is going on in research universities all across the world. In fact, in recent years, previous Kepler findings that were rejected as potential Earth-sized exoplanets due to algorithmic error are getting rediscovered. These false positives are now slowly being reanalyzed in conjunction with data from other telescopes. One such planet is Kepler 1649c. In mid-2020, while combing through old Kepler data and matching it against new data from the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS, astronomers confirmed the existence of another exoplanet with very favorable conditions for life. Kepler 1649c, located 300 light-years from Earth, is very similar to Earth in size and estimated temperature. This newly revealed world is only 1.06
So
times
how does the telescope determine the planet's atmosphere? Because we can by the dimming of the light from the sun that they rotate, we can determine I believe how fast the planet is rotating the sun, how big the planet is. But how can we tell the atmosphere of that planet? You know? I feel like I should watch a video about that.
larger than our own planet. Also, the amount of starlight it receives from its host star, which is also a red dwarf, is 75% of the amount of light Earth receives from our Sun, meaning the exoplanet's temperature may be similar to our planet's as well. Kepler 1649c provides yet another example of an Earth-sized planet in the habitable zone of a red dwarf star. But before we get ahead of ourselves, it's important to note that
I guess you can tell
2,662 exoplanets identified by Kepler,
I guess you can tell how whether the planet has, ice, water, or if it's habitable. Damn, they got lost in translation. But you know what I mean. Of how, because it says that the planets that we find have to be in a certain area of the sun to be livable. So I guess by determining where that planet is from the sun, I guess we can use our own solar system to determine whether that planet is livable. I can't say the word habitable. There you go.
16 of them lie inside the Goldilocks zone. And out of these 16, some of these planets are tidally locked with their parent stars, meaning that only one hemisphere of the planet faces the star, and this is not ideal for life. Others are more like
it
a
doesn't
smaller
rotate?
version of Neptune than a larger version of Earth, and planets similar to Neptune are expected to have a significant envelope of hydrogen surrounding any layer of water on the surface, with a planetary core of rock and iron. If the hydrogen envelope is too thick, the temperature and pressure of the water layer beneath would be far too great to support life. On top of all of this, despite being cooler, red dwarf stars tend to be more active than sun-like stars. Thus, the planets may be exposed to higher quantities of damaging ultraviolet radiation than what we're used to here on Earth. Because of this, surface temperatures can range between -100 and 116 degrees Fahrenheit, or -73 to 47 degrees Celsius. That means the
I live currently in Ohio, but I used to live in Arizona. I think the highest temperature that I felt in Arizona was 117 degrees. Bro, I kid you not. Like, they literally told you not to step outside because it was that hot. My brother would bleed from the nose. When you would open your car, like, bro, you would literally see smoke and steam come out of your car, and you would have to turn on the AC. And it's funny because when we came here to Ohio, there's cold temperature here. Like, it snows here. In Arizona, it doesn't. So it was like the opposite. We would have to turn on the car to heat it up in order to come in the car. But that's just crazy, bro. How did I say it was gonna be? think it said 100 and let's see, 100, negative 100 and plus 116. So it was about as hot as I got in Arizona, but negative 100. That's cold.
116 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 73 to 47 degrees Celsius. That means the surface could, on average, be colder than Antarctica or hotter than Earth's most blistering deserts.
You know what? I don't even know how the maximum hotness the Earth gets in the lowest temperature it goes. I never looked it up.
Unfortunately, we just don't have the technological know-how to study the composition and atmospheres of these alien worlds and comprehensively answer all these questions yet. But don't despair. Based on the statistical analysis of all the Kepler observations, astronomers now estimate that 1 in 5 stars like the Sun have planets about the size of Earth and a surface temperature conducive to life. Given that about 20% of stars are Sun-like in our galaxy, that amounts to several billions of potential habitable Earth-like planets just in our Milky Way alone. Kepler not only focused its efforts in finding potentially habitable planets, in fact the bulk of its discoveries were strange worlds not suitable for life but fascinating nonetheless, like the gas giants, planets composed mostly of gases such as hydrogen and helium with a relatively small rocky core, also known as hot Jupiters. These planets orbit extremely close to their parent stars and are abundant in Kepler's data. One such fascinating example of a gas giant is KOI 5AB.
Planets made out of gas. I wonder if like a meteor that hits the planet, because it's just made out of gas, would it just go through the planet, or would it be caught by like the I don't know if the gas giant has winds, but would it be caught by the winds and just flick it off? That's just so much that we don't know. It's crazy.
Astronomers first flagged KOI 5AB as a potential planet way back in 2009. At the time, this elusive alien world was only the second planet ever found by Kepler. It slipped through the cracks a decade ago, firstly due to the enormous amount of data that Kepler generated, and secondly because astronomers noticed that the main KOI 5A star had another companion star, making analysis very difficult for them. Indeed, the KOI 5 system was even more complicated than researchers realized at the time. By 2014, scientists had determined that the KOI 5 system actually harbors 3 stars, and it still wasn't clear if the planet KOI 5AB actually existed, or if the 2009 signal was generated by one of the companions.
You know what I think about? If it's a solar system that has two suns, I was just thinking the planet would rotate, the suns or around the suns. But what about the 2 suns in itself? Like, do they rotate on themselves, or does the bigger one stay in place and the little one rotates around it? That's crazy.
Stars. But thanks to additional data from the TESS satellite, scientists were able to confirm the existence of KOI 5AB. Planetary bodies on stable orbits in a multi-star system is quite a rare find, and the discovery of KOI 5AB is expected to add a lot to our understanding of planetary formation. Other exoplanet types identified by Kepler include super-Earths. They're more massive than Earth, yet lighter than ice giants like Neptune and Uranus, and can be made of gas, rock, or a combination of both. Lava planets are super dense, larger than Earth worlds in close, hot orbits around their parent stars. Some of them, known as Chthonian planets, are likely the remnant cores of evaporated hot Jupiters. And finally, Trojan planets, planets of various size found in strange locations, and sometimes even as companions to larger planets, though none have been certainly identified yet. Kepler was finally retired on the 30th of October 2018 as it ran out of fuel.
Rest in peace.
The telescope was deactivated with a good night command sent from mission control the next month. Coincidentally, Kepler's retirement fell on the 338th anniversary of Johann Kepler's death, after whom it's named. Although not operational anymore, These incredible discoveries predict a near future in which astronomers will use new and advanced telescopes on the ground and in space to more deeply understand Kepler's numerous finds. One such telescope is already slated to go up into space in 2021. The James Webb Telescope will take a much closer look at some of these Kepler objects of interest and hopefully will bring us closer to answering the question, are we alone in the universe? What do you think? Will astronomers find many more strange worlds buried inside Kepler's data? Let us know in the comments section below.
That is crazy, yo. I just feel like there's just so much that we don't know. And I just think it's so interesting, you know, the space exploration. That's just crazy. And I really wonder if we are alone, you know, like, because if there's if all the stars are like the sun and they all have their own planets that are habitable, like, are we alone? I honestly, in my own opinion, I feel like we're the only human beings. Could there be like microscopic life in other planets? I think so. But as far as aliens go, probably not. It would literally take me to see an actual real footage or would see it with my own eyes to believe. But that's just crazy, bro. Well, if you guys liked the video, leave a like, a comment, subscribe. If you guys want to suggest any other videos, space, history, anime. I wanna make anime reactions. I just don't want to get copyrighted. And I don't know how to do that yet. Ocean exploration. I think I want to watch some of those. Just leave them in the comments below. I'll start reacting to more videos. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.